everyone. Welcome to Times Conversations, and today you are with me, Irneen Farhat Ali. And today we have a great panel of experts from Pushpanjali Hospital. And today we will be having our interaction based on cancer, wherein all the subject experts will give their viewpoints from the different departments of medical science. So I would like to begin with Dr. Animesh Gupta. He's a medical oncologist at Pushpanjali Hospital and Research Center, Agra. Sir, I would like to know, patients are very terrified of chemotherapy side effects. So is the era of hair loss and extreme nausea finally coming to an end? What would you like to say on that?
Ma'am, actually chemotherapy is an old age treatment that we used to give. So it had a lot of problems. It was hair fall, it was nausea, patients used to have a lot of body pain, and also some of the patients used to even used to expire due to chemotherapy. So now chemotherapy treatment options coming up for cancer like immunotherapies, targeted therapies. So in a way, these therapies are actually modulating our own immune system against the cancer cells. So they do not lead to these side effects like hair loss and all this vomiting. So and also they have a much better efficacy than chemotherapy.
Things are getting better.
Yeah, and I think in our center most of the patients are now being treated with immunotherapy and targeted therapies only because obviously the efficacy is better, the side effects are less.
So people are now less scared.
Yeah,
especially the people who are
they are less
dealing
scared,
with
and the effects and the treatment responses are much better. I think that is the most important thing in cancer treatment, even more than side effects, as doctors say.
Right.
So yes, the treatment is getting better. Many patients are being cured with the help of these newer therapies.
To you is, can you please help us in telling what are the red flag symptoms that an average Indian adult often ignores but should know? Because we often see, people are having symptoms but they're not actually aware of it. So how do we deal with that?
So I think first thing I should point out is that early diagnosis of cancer is one of the most effective treatment that we have. Okay, so like if we are able to catch hold of that cancer in early stages, then obviously the chances of it getting cured fully is a lot as compared to when we find it in later stages. So I think there are a couple of things, maybe 5 or 6 things that anybody and everybody should examine themselves, and if they have it, they should go to their nearest oncologist. One is if you have some sort of a swelling, somewhere swelling in the neck, swelling in the groin, swelling in the armpits. If you have any sort of an ulcer that is not healing, if you're bleeding, like if there is bleeding from the urine, from the mouth, if there is decreased appetite, there's a weight loss is there, there's difficulty in swallowing, all these are symptoms that if you have and they're not getting better with your normal treatment, I think everybody catch hold of it early and treat it.
Right. So just these days people generally Google their symptoms, so they go to ChatGPT or the AI driven tools. So how do we not get paranoid if we are having something very basic but very similar?
See, I think you cannot replace a clinician's intuition and experience. It is good. See, we can all take opinions from AIs and ChatGPTs, but I think you should always consult a qualified doctor when you have some of the symptoms, so that if it is there, you can just get it early. And I think if you catch it early, majority of malignancies and cancers is still treatable. So the key is to catch hold of it early.
Thank you so much, sir. Next, I would like to speak to Dr. Dilip Kumar Mishra. He is a urologist at Pushpanjali Hospital and Research Center, Agra. Sir, Pushpanjali Hospital is emerging as a key center for urology in Agra. What makes your department so unique?
See, we have a very unique department in the sense we have 3 consultants working in the Pushpanjali Hospital. I am the head of the department, and among us we have around 90 years of experience in urology.
That's
So
really
that makes us a very huge volume center, largest volume center of urology in Agra. And we are a teaching hospital in the sense we have got again DRNP program, urology program running at this hospital. And we have got trainee urologists, we are producing urologists from this department. And we have got a huge amount of workload which we do regularly in this hospital. And other aspect is that the urology is a very technology intensive branch. Latest technologies keep coming in urology, and it is a very much redeveloping branch. So we've got robotics, which is coming up in urology very well. It's been there since a long time. We've got lasers, we've got multiple multiple gadgets which are there in urology. It's a very technology specific branch. Advances which are present in urology, we have got a couple of hospitals. We are doing all sorts of work in urology. Endourology, we are doing pediatric urology, we are doing renal transplants, we are doing uro-oncology, related work related to kidney cancers and all the cancers in urology, and we are doing diagnostics. So we are covering all the aspects of urology in this hospital. So that's why that, including all these things, our department is a very unique department, and it is, I would say, one of the best departments of urology.
Oh, that's brilliant. I should congratulate the hospital on that. So, sir, how important is advanced technology in today's urology practice?
So as I told you before that we have got urology is a very technology specific branch. Like all the latest technology keep on developing. So robotics has been there in urology since it's very well. So it started in urology, and because urological organs, most of them are located deep in the pelvis. So we need a specific tool to access that area. So robotics works very well in urology. We are in the process of getting a robot in this hospital, and we have been doing laparoscopic urology very frequently. Then coming on to other endourology work, we've got state-of-the-art equipment for endourology, but all the high-definition cameras with which we do endourology procedures in this hospital. We have two laser machines, and we've got bipolar technology. We've got so anything which is possible, even in America or in the most advanced centers in the world, we are able to do in this hospital. So whatever technology is coming, and we are going ahead and taking up the opportunity to use that technology in the patients in Agra.
So people should not be afraid of, getting themselves tested at the right time and getting these technologies used, because I guess that will help in
Yes,
them.
definitely, because technology is there for the benefit of the population, for the benefit of the patient.
Right.
So if we use technology, we can perform that only thing much better. Like I would like to give an example. For a prostate cancer surgery, previously we used to do open surgeries. I would say like 15-20 years back. Nowadays with robotic surgery, you can just make 2-3 holes in the abdomen and you can remove that prostate with robotic technology. So that's a big advancement, and you need not stay in the hospital for so long, and the results are much better.
Okay. So, and I think on that note, we can also add to it like that Agra has really developed in terms of medical science and the treatment, because earlier people used to go to metros, or people who can afford much better used to travel abroad for all such things. So now we have it in Agra and at Pushpanjali. So
Yes. So like I would give an example of endourology. So in endourology, we are one of the largest volume centers for doing stone surgeries in northern India, I would say. And among us 3 consultants, we got a huge workload of endourology. And the latest in endourology for stone disease is endoscopic combined interventional surgery. And we have been one of the pioneers of doing that surgery in this hospital.
thank you so much, sir. Hospital and Research Center. So my question to you is, what are the common symptoms of a brain tumor, and how can a patient identify early warning signs?
Okay, very important question you have asked. Usually, these patients complain of some sort of headache, like persistent headache. Most and in the age group somewhere around like our 40s, the person is having consistent headache, which is not getting relieved by medicine. Like I am taking medicine, but still my headache is keep on persisting, and it increased to the extent that I am getting blacked out. That is also one of the very, important symptom. So basically, it depends on the tumor size, location. These are the things which matters, and especially in the symptoms, like patient may present to you first time seizure. Like what happens at adult onset seizure. Some patients have the seizure in the beginning, but sometimes they have late seizure also. So like at 40 plus or even in youngster patient, we see that patient is having seizure. So we have to look forward the cause of the seizure. So seizure, headache, vomiting, and behavioral change. That is also very important thing.
Can you stress more on that?
Yeah, why? Because in today's world, people are having so much stress. They start behaving erratically. So the surrounding, the family members start thinking maybe because of the work stress he is having these problems. But this could be a symptom of a underlying some brain tumor.
It's a very important thing to know,
Yes,
because most
yes.
of us were, I was also not aware that
Yes.
behavioral changes.
Yes, behavioral changes. This is very important. Like patient who is having constant, it's not getting improved by any medication. They will go to psychiatrist. Psychiatrists, people, they sometimes miss, okay, this is typical psychiatric symptom, let's start the medication. But even then patient is not improving.
So is it like these patients are in depression or they have anxiety issues? What sort of behavioral changes?
Usually, yes, they have a psychotic symptoms. Like it depends on the basically the area of the brain from where the tumor is coming. But they behave like they're anxious. They are not listening to you. They erratically they start behaving with somebody. They are like fear. They have these kind of symptoms. One. Another important symptom is forgetfulness.
Okay.
Yeah. So patient usually they will tell that family members they are having small things. He keeps something somewhere and he forget. So these are the 4 important. If I summarize, like
Is it linked to mental health a lot? Correct me if I'm wrong. So like mental health also like focuses on this, right? Sort of behavioral changes.
yeah, that's but one aspect. But I'm telling you about tumor only.
Right.
So I will take the 4 main symptoms for the general public. One is headache, which is not getting relieved by medicine. Second is seizure, which is very, rare. But still, if you are having a seizure, you should need a proper investigation. Third is the behavioral changes. Fourth is the forgetfulness. And these are the symptoms if you are having even after getting medications. Then please go to some neurosurgeon or neurologist, get yourself investigated because you may have brain.
And are these symptoms similar in both men and women? Or-
Yeah, it doesn't have any
It doesn't
gender.
have. So my next question would be, do all brain tumors require surgery? Because this is something a lot of people have questions. Ki, tumor hai to we'll have a surgery.
No. See, brain actually medical has advanced such an extent that we can treat these tumors by different modalities. Like what Animesh is saying, yes. So what we have that definitely surgery is the mainstay of treatment, but we have radiation, we have chemotherapy. So there are category of brain tumor where only radiation works and that cures it. I'm not saying it's like a adjuvant therapy. It cures the tumor, it cures the disease.
Okay.
So there are different variety of tumor which actually does not require surgery.
Okay.
Like one of the example is pituitary tumor. General people have idea about the pituitary gland. So these tumor usually is a specific kind of tumor, one specific segment of tumor where you give radiation and it melts like anything. Even with the medicine, not only radiation, only with the medicine, tablet only it can melt.
Right.
So you need to go to the doctor, consult it, and do not get afraid of that if you are having brain tumor.
Right.
So the life will be like hell and all these things. It will not happen.
So at Pushpanjali, are we doing something more advanced to help the patients who are suffering from such tumors?
See, I have joined Pushpanjali 10 years back. That only moment I got all the equipment like microscope, endoscope, and recently we have got MRI also, CT also. So we have all kinds of equipments here. We are doing minimal invasive surgeries. We are doing radiation and chemotherapy also for these tumors.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to speak to Dr. Shalini Sharma. She is a gastroenterologist at Pushpanjali Hospital and Research Center. Ma'am, I would like to know who are at higher risk of developing GI cancers, and can you just elaborate what GI cancers are?
GI cancers are the malignancy of GI tract. So it can arise from the esophagus, your food pipe. It can arise from the stomach, that is gastric cancers. It can arise from intestine, both small and large intestine, and the gallbladder, the biliary system is also a part of the GI cancers. If you consider the risk factor, age is a very important part. Like the people who are more than 45 years of age are particularly at risk. Those who are having a family history of any cancer, definitely they should go regular screening checkup should be done. Those patients who are having like smoking, alcohol, and our lifestyle play a very important role, like obesity, sedentary lifestyle. And if we consider about the disease, those patients who are having chronic hepatitis B and C, they are a particular risk of hepatocellular cancer, that is liver cancer. And if any patient is taking treatment of inflammatory bowel disease, ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, then I must say that he should have a screening annually to rule out colon cancer, because these are the risk factors. I'm not saying that these patients will get 100% risk of cancer, but definitely they are at the higher verge of facing cancer.
What exactly comes under GI cancer?
See, as we've already discussed, let's start from the mouth. Like GI cancer can be esophageal cancers. It presents as a difficulty in swelling or simple odynophagia, like you have a pain, you have something stuck in your throat, stuck in your, like he's taking the food and it is stuck somewhere in your chest. It can be gastric cancer. Gastric cancer is very notorious. It can present as a simple chronic dyspepsia. Patient will complain that I have a simple acidity, I don't have any complaint. So it can be a sign of gastric cancer. One should go through endoscopy, a proper evaluation checkup to rule out gastric cancer.
So on that note, ma'am, I would like to know what are the recommended screening protocols for early detections of GI cancer?
See, as we have already discussed, those who are at high risk definitely should go check up in every 6 months or annually for the checkups. We do have endoscopy, colonoscopy, CT, MRI, PET-CT here to evaluate for the screening of cancer. And if we get any high risk thing like any high risk polyp growth or any high risk ulcer, we do take biopsy of that, and that is for the diagnosis. And imaging, we'll go for the how much is it spread, what is the depth of the tumor. So these are the screening protocol. We'll go for endoscopy and colonoscopies and take the biopsy if required.
So are we having all these possible technologies here at
Yes,
Pushpanjali?
Pushpanjali, we are definitely having endoscopies doing and colonoscopies, and for biliary cancer we are doing ERCP and metal stenting also, and for the imaging we do have CT MRI also for diagnosing the staging of the cancer.
One more question, like ma'am, I have, since you said that the lifestyle plays a very big role in identifying this. So what kind of patients do you get more? What sort of
It's very important in the young patient, because they usually do, what do they do? Like they study like 14 to 15 hours they study, and they usually say I am having on and off bleeding per rectum, and I think there is a swelling in my rectum. So they usually take it otherwise that it is usually hemorrhoids or piles, but we do find anal cancers and rectal cancer in young patients. So definitely sedentary lifestyle should be stopped, like daily 30 to 40 minutes of walk and exercise is recommended. And yes, your diet play a very important role. Processed foods, a diet high in red meat and high in spices, it should be controlled.
also these fat diets?
Yes, these trans fat diets, these are very much linked to the GI cancers.
Another question, like just adding on to it, when we say of lifestyle and when we say of all these things, do you have more male patients coming and complaining of because of the smoking and the alcohol thing, or do you have women also?
No, male patients in the, see, Agra is a small city, so in our scenario, basically we do get male patients because of alcohol and smoking, and they usually have pancreatic cancers or liver cancer, simple underlying chronic liver disease, and the female we usually have this intestinal tumors and polyps, because they usually come when they feel so much symptoms like they bleeding, weight loss, like unexplained weight loss of 10 to 15 kg they have suffered. So in our city, we usually get the male patients more for liver cancer, pancreatic cancers.
Thank you so much. I have a common question for my entire panel here today. Is there any message that you want to give out to people who are watching this in Agra, and what all possible things that one should keep in mind to keep our health better, to make our lifestyles better? So we can start from you.
I think from the aspect of malignancies in cancer, there are few things. I think 4 or 5 things I think the general public should know, that if we incorporate in our lives daily, there are a lot of chances that we can avoid cancer. See, cancer is now becoming an epidemic in our generation. So there are a couple of things, easy things that we can do from that we can incorporate in day-to-day life. One is diet, as ma'am is saying. I try to take a diet more vegetables, more fruits, less processed food, clean diet, but more cleaner diet, less processed and less red meat. So these are the things that go in a long way to prevent GI cancers, as ma'am was saying. Second is physical activity. So a couple of trials have told that a 30-minute exercise leads to decrease in breast cancer in the tune of 12 to 15 times. That is more than any drug can do. So a 30-minute exercise a day can protect you from cancers a lot as compared to other things.
Something
So
as basic as cardio.
yeah,
right?
small like cardio walk, a 20 minutes walk, but it should be regular. See, all the things in these, it should be a part of your lifestyle rather than just being a fad for a couple of months. I think the third thing is screening. As ma'am was saying, like there's a very clear screening protocol for every person of a specific age, of a specific family history. We should try to visit our oncologist or any doctor and try to make our let's
Just
make a
like
personalized program.
Health checkups at the
Yeah,
right time,
yeah.
like maybe in 6 months.
Yes. So I think that is also very important because again, early detection leads to like saves lives. Fourth is mostly cancer vaccines like cervical cancer vaccines, hepatitis B vaccines, like all those vaccines. So these are one of the few preventive measures that we can, and they're very easy to do and like in our general day-to-day practice life. So if people are able to incorporate these in a life, so I think they can lead a healthier life.
Thank you, sir. So do you want to add on something?
Yes, I would like to add on that urology problems are very common in the general population. Most common will be stone disease and prostate-related problems, which happen very commonly. So stone disease and these prostate-related problems are very easily detectable and preventable or treatable, I would say. Stone disease, if you have any pain or any, because ultrasound is so common nowadays that every other center is doing ultrasound and commonly people get ultrasound done and they will very easily detect any kind of stone. And in India, doctors are very easily available, I would say, as compared to US, where if you want to take an appointment for a urologist, you need to wait for say 1 month or something to get an appointment of a urologist. Here, you come, walk in, and you will get an appointment of myself, and you can meet me. So it's very easy to meet us and to get your diseases treated with us. Similarly, for prostate problems, we've got all sorts of advanced technologies here, which is available, and you can get the best form of treatment in this center. Next, I would come on urological cancers. So that is again very easily detectable because with the advent of ultrasound, anybody can get an ultrasound very easily done. And in urological cancers, the most common thing which can happen is hematuria, which is blood in urine. If you have any time you have got blood in urine, you need to come and meet a urologist, whether here or anywhere. It's very important. And then there is PSA testing. PSA is a prostate-specific antigen testing, which is very specific or rather important for cancers of prostate, and that can be done as a lab test anywhere. So I would recommend that people who are above 50 years of age, and they should once in a year they should get the PSA testing done, so that if it is raised, you can come and meet us and we can see if it needs to be done regarding that.
Thank you, sir. Sir, would you like to add on?
I would like to add a very interesting thing. I was reading these days also, and I want to answer. There is supplements you take, like omega-3 fatty acids. This is very good. I personally like it very much. And antioxidants. So these have an important role against the inflammation, against the starting of cancer. So like person who is alcoholic, who is smoking, if they are taking these medication, does it have any effect on their like metabolism?
So like multiple trials have been done on this, but I have not found any specific antioxidant or
Yes. Cause to effect.
Yeah,
Direct cause to
like,
effect.
because I think there are a lot of other factors, confounding factors also, because
Yeah.
like if you are taking all these multivitamins, it is bound that you are leading a healthier life than most.
Yes.
You are more
Also, I've seen a
focused.
lot of people, they have completely stopped eating, but they're only taking supplements.
Yeah.
So that is some.
I
Only
And
protein
like-
powder for the protein supplement.
Protein powder.
No, I'm not talking this protein supplement. I'm talking about antioxidant like vitamin E
Yes.
and omega-3 fatty acid, which I personally finding it have some effect.
Personally,
They are
I feel-
anti-inflammatory, but yes, correct only Dr. Anvi said that there is no one-to-one effect. That has not been seen, but yes, if you are taking it somewhere deep at the
but I think
cellular
ma'am,
level-
there's no harm also.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, it should be recommended by the doctor for the right purpose. Na? Like,
Yeah.
even if it's a vitamin capsule that you are having or whatever, so it should have some relatability. I've seen people who are just popping up those things and they completely say no to food and they're just having pomegranate health supplements. I will not like to take the hint, but I know people personally.
But I would say these are the documented things like vitamin E.
Yeah.
It's very good. Vitamin C. These are single capsules come,
Right.
not the combination of everything like B complex and all
I would
this.
like to say, Dr. Balu, that if a person is taking a good and healthy diet, which is balanced,
The thing in
then
raw
most of
form
things
are
will automatically be
good, like-
included.
Yeah, problem is this India's diet is carbohydrate rich. It's not protein rich.
That is a problem.
How you can take a balanced diet?
Adulterated है कि
I think-
Another thing, adulteration. So, like 60 gram protein you require if your body weight is 60 kg. From where, which other food material you will get 60
Mostly
gram?
vegetarian type.
That's what I'm saying, vegetarian.
Vegetarian.
Now you cannot have red meat, it's directly carcinogenic. So, what you will have? This pulses has no protein. There is no protein, it's full carbohydrate.
Listening to all four of you, one thing that I have reached to a conclusion is all of us are talking about having some discipline in our life. which
Yeah, that is must.
genuinely
I think that
yeah.
is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And in addition, we can do all this supplements and do. But if you have like
one,
basic
one,
discipline,
one more thing I would like also to add is fasting.
Yeah.
Prolonged fasting has definitely effect on your body. And I don't know literature or no, but this has role of decreasing your cancer chances also. Like when body start autophagy, they start eating their own cells which are in high metabolism.
Correct.
So the cancer risk also decreases if you are having prolonged fasting to the 2 or 3 days. I'm not talking intermittent fasting.
Yes, of course. Like,
Yeah, you are not eating the 36 hours not eating anything.
like dawn to dusk.
Yeah.
Ma'am, do you want to add on something?
Yes,
What else?
definitely. I think one must listen his or her body, what his body feels. Because what do people are very educated. ठीक है, they do have ChatGPT and all. What they do go for the complete health checkup. They do have CBC, LFT, KFT in their hand, but they don't know what their body is saying. If they are having headache cannot be come in the complete health
Right,
checkup reports. If they are having some sort of GB pathology, it cannot come in the this health
Blood
checkup
reports.
reports. So definitely listen to your body. What are the complaints? Like simple dyspepsia. Patients are taking DSR capsule from so long time. Like 15 years they are taking DSR capsule. See, the important part is to rule out anything that is growing inside of you. Like अगर gastric cancer, it simply present as a dyspepsia and chronic gut. इसके कोई बहुत specific signs नहीं होते. So definitely listen to your body, what your body is saying. If you are having symptom of a particular organ, go to that particular specialist to get a checkup done. Simple एक health checkup का report लेके like एक सब इतना मोटा कॉपी होता है, वो लेके हम घूमते हैं पेशेंट के अटेंडेंट और उन्होंने ऑलरेडी स्क्रूटनी पूरा किया होता है. It is absolutely normal, but why I am facing so much difficult?
They've come to a conclusion on their own. That's all.
And they force you to read out of it.
Actually,
They
that's the
force you
problem.
to say, please,
Right.
sir, there was a
Magnesium
follow-up
level-
No,
follow-up.
so we are dealing with
And then they'll point out.
we are dealing with another educated elite these days. So they know
Yes,
everything
yes.
and they have reached to a conclusion that I am right. That's the problem. I think that's in every profession. Yeah, of course. So okay, so I think on that note we will just summarize this entire discussion today. First of all, thank you to all the doctors here. Thank you to Pushpanjali Hospital and Research Center in Agra. The takeaways, I guess, from this panel discussion would be to have a disciplined life, to eat clean, to eat well, to exercise, and not to research and reach to a conclusion on your own. Please reach out to the panels, to the medical experts, and get yourself checked. And of course, timely screening and checkups. On that note, thank you so much, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.